right, welcome back to yet another cool video. TryHackMe Pyramid of Pain is what we're gonna be doing today. And it's your boy Hank Hackerson at Hank Hacks Hackers. And this sounds interesting. I haven't done any of these tasks, so we're gonna be doing all of this together. And hopefully we'll be learning a thing or two. Go ahead and get yourself a membership to TryHackMe, although this particular room is a free room, which means anybody can go into it and deploy virtual machines, so on and so forth. Um, yeah, and if you wanted to subscribe to TryHackMe, it's $12 to get subscribed. But then if you use the link in the description, you'll get an extra $5 off. So it's super easy to get access to TryHackMe and definitely start hacking. So like, subscribe, share, comment, turn on the notification bell, all that good stuff. It helps us out a lot when you do that, especially when you subscribe, when you comment. It kind of helps us with the algorithm of YouTube so that the channel can get more attention, so on and so forth. We're putting these videos out for free, so the only thing that I ask is your participation and your follow. So without further ado, let's jump into the Pyramid of Pain, which sounds kind of gnarly. So let me see if I can kind of zoom in a little bit to make this a little bit easier to read here. Okay, so it says this is well known, this well-renowned concept is being applied to cybersecurity solutions like Cisco Security, Sentinel-1, SOC Radar to improve the effectiveness of the cyber threat intelligence, threat hunting, and incident response exercises. Understanding the pyramid of pain concept as a threat hunter, incident responder, or SOC analyst is important. And although pen testing is really fun to do and hacking is really fun to do, most likely a lot of the companies that you're going to end up applying to and working for will want these types of positions to be filled. So the SOC analyst and the incident responder, threat hunter, these are on the blue team. So these are the defensive security part of cybersecurity. And it's just important to understand all of these concepts and these tools, right? Sentinel-1 and Cisco Security and all that stuff. So this one doesn't have a question for us to answer. This one probably will. So it says, as per Microsoft, the hash value is a numeric value of a fixed length that uniquely identifies data. Hash value is the result of a hashing algorithm like SHA-1 or SHA-256 or MD5. SHA-1 is mentioned right here. These are some of the most common ones. So MD5 message digest, defined by the RFC 1321, was designed by Ron Rivest, I guess, in 1992, and it's widely used with 128-bit hash. So it's actually not the most secure, as it says right here. So they're not considered cryptographically secure. In 2011, the IETF published the updated security considerations for the MD5 digest and HMAC MD5 algorithms, which mentioned a number of attacks against these hashes, including hash collision, right? SHA-1 was meant to be the upgrade to this, and the Secure Hash Algorithm 1 was invented by the US National Security Agency in 95. When data is fed to SHA-1 hashing algorithm, it takes an input and produces a 160-bit hash value. So this one was 128. SHA-1 does 160-bit, and it has a 40-digit hexadecimal number. NIST deprecated the use of SHA-1 in 2011 and banned its use for digital signatures at the end of 2013 based on it being susceptible to brute force attacks. Instead, NIST recommends migrating from SHA-1 to stronger algorithms like the SHA-2, SHA-3, and as it says right here, it was designed again by NIST and the National Security Agency to replace SHA-1. SHA-2 has many variants, and arguably the most common is the 256, which is a strong one, and you'll see that a lot. Algorithm returns a hash value of 256 bits as a 64-digit hexadecimal number. And then there's one that's even stronger, which is the SHA 512, right? So it gets pretty up there. It gets fairly strong. And there's, SHA, I think 1028 and 2000 and all those things too. So a hash is not considered to be cryptographically secure if two files have the same hash value, which is possible because there's trillions of files. And according to this, so if if it's going to be a 40-digit hexadecimal number, there's only so many variations of that that can happen, and eventually some files may have the same hash value. So security professionals usually use the hash values to gain insight into a specific malware sample, malicious or suspicious file as a way to uniquely identify and reference the malicious artifact. You've probably read ransomware reports in the past where security researchers would provide the hashes related to malicious or suspicious files used at the end of the report, and you can check it out at the DFIR report, the FireEye threat research blogs, and many other places. Various online tools could be used to do hash lookups like VirusTotal, MetaDefender Cloud for OP SWAT, and I mean there was CrackStation that we used in one of the videos, and there are a lot of different tools that we could use to not only look up hashes but crack hashes. So this is a screen from VirusTotal. Let me see if I can kind of zoom out so we can get a better view of this. And so, these are the names right here. So Komodo, GrindNSoft, Lionic, McAfee Edition, Symantec. These are the different detection platforms. And then this is the name of the actual malware. And you can kind of see that I think there's one that's been clicked on. Or no, you know what? I'm sorry. They did a search for this hash right here. And then based on this hash value, 14 security vendors has flagged this hash value as a malicious, and these are the security vendors, and they all have their own little distinction or designation for what it actually is. But essentially, you can see that there's 14 out of 59 vendors that flagged this particular hash value as a dangerous hash value, right? So that's VirusTotal's page, and then below is the hash screenshot. Below the hash and the screenshot above, you can see that the file name, in this case, it's mcroatian.wny. So this thing right here. This is the file name, right? So kind of keep that in mind, right? If you ever run across that, if you have a good photographic memory and you can recognize this in a list of things that's happening, that's probably what you need to deal with. And so this is the OP SWAT page, right? And so this is the hash value right here. And you have 8 out of 34 engines saying that this was a threat, and there was no sandbox threat score or anything like that. And the threat name is this thing right here. That's the threat name, and this one is definitely, it just looks like a bunch of random letters and stuff, but it looks like honestly a bad process. Like if I saw that running top or just in a list of processes running, just because of the way that it's named, I would kind of trip out. Oh, it says cry in it, so maybe that's kind of a sign right there. It's like if you see cry, you might be, anyways. Okay, so as you may have noticed, let's zoom in a little bit more. As you might have noticed, it's really easy to spot a malicious file if we have the hash in our arsenal. However, as an attacker, modifying a file by even a single bit is trivial, which would produce a different hash value. With so many variations and instances of null malware or ransomware, threat hunting using file hashes as the IOC indicators of compromise can become difficult. Let's look at an example of how you can change the hash value of a file simply by appending a string to the end of the file using echo. So but that's basically it, right? So it's like this was the file hash, so you did get file hash on this particular thing, and you used the MD5 algorithm, and this was the hash, right? And then all you need to do is echo this little string to that, which is nothing. This does nothing to the actual functionality of this, but because you added this, then the hash value completely changes. It's a completely different hash value. And you can even go a step further, like without adding a string, you could add a comment. Let's say it's a Python file or any kind of file that runs any kind of a script. You can add a comment to it, and the comment does nothing. It's just a comment. It does nothing to the functionality of the file, but it will guarantee change the hash value. So that's the issue, right? So that's what we're trying to kind of get a hang of here and understand that just because we can go to this website right here and check this hash value. So we're going to do that exactly right now just to see. analyze the report associated with this hash. What is the file name of the sample? So we're going to go to this thing right here, and I mean, they already generated the report for us. So if I just zoom in here, this is it, sales receipt 5606.xls. That's it. So sales receipt 5606.xls. That's the name of the file, right? So this was, they already extracted the report for us, but we could have probably gone to their own website or one of these websites and try to find it that way. So let's actually see if we can do that. Why not, huh? While we're already here, let's see if we can go to VirusTotal. And this is VirusTotal. Let's do a search, file hash, press enter, and right there gives it to us. So sales receipt 5606XLS, and it's exactly what we just saw in that PDF file, but now we actually kind of get to run it against these things. And so look, all these organizations found it, these organizations it went undetected, and these organizations weren't even able to process the file type. So I mean, any from here up until these people, even these people, because they were able to actually process the file type. So it's kind of even scarier that they were able to process it, but they weren't able to detect it. And then you got the bad mofos right here that were actually able to detect it. It's nice to see that Microsoft was able to detect it, Google detected it. Who else do we recognize in this list? Sentinel-1, which is I think for Intel, they were able to detect it. And who else do I recognize? Yeah, I don't recognize most of these names, but it's nice to see that I recognize Bitdefender actually. It's nice to see that there's a lot of different organizations that can detect malicious files. That's good. Okay, moving on to the next one. So IP address easy. You may have learned the importance of IP address from the What is Networking room, which is a very basic room, and I think this is also a free room in TryHackMe. The importance of the IP address. An IP address is used to identify any device connected to a network. These devices range from desktops to servers and even CCTV cameras, which is security cameras. We rely on IP addresses to send and receive the information over the network, but we're not going to get into the structure. So in the pyramid of pain, IP addresses are indicated with the color green. You might be asking why and what you can associate the green color with. From a defense standpoint, knowledge of the IP address an adversary uses can be valuable. A common defense tactic is to block, drop, or deny inbound requests from IP addresses on your perimeter or external firewall. This tactic is often not bulletproof, as it's trivial for an experienced adversary to simply get by using a new IP address or use a proxy chain. A lot of things that can be done to kind of avoid this process so that you don't detect their IP address anymore. So malicious IP connections through this right here, we can kind of see that these are the IP addresses right here on port 443. Some malicious file is the process name. The PID is pretty much the same. There was a little flag that went up right here, TCP protocol, so on and so forth. Do not attempt to interact with the IP addresses shown above because they are malicious. One of the ways an adversary can make it challenging to successfully carry out IP blocking is by using fast flux. Okay, according to Akamai, fast flux is a DNS technique used by botnets to hide phishing, web proxying, malware delivery, and malware communication activities behind compromised hosts acting as proxies. The purpose of using the fast flux network is to make the communication between malware and its command control server, so CNC's command control, challenging to be discovered by security professionals. So the primary concept of fast flux is to have multiple IP addresses associated with a domain name, which is constantly changing. Palo Alto created a great fictional scenario to explain this, and it goes in this thing right here, Fast Flux 101, how cybercriminals improve the resilience of their infrastructure to evade detection and law enforcement. So read the following report generated from any run for this sample here to answer the questions below. So read the report to answer this question. What is the first IP address the malicious process 1632 attempts to communicate with? And then read the following report here. What is the first domain name the malicious malicious process 1632 attempts to communicate with. So first we're going to look for the first IP address and then the first domain name that PID 1632 tries to communicate with. So we're going to load this thing, and let me kind of zoom in a little bit. This is not searchable, I don't think. Can I search this? I can't search this. So these are just a bunch of images that we actually have to scroll through. So what we're going to try to find first is, let's see, static information, exif, summary, DOS header, PF headers, sections. What do we got? Processes and modules, process information, more modules. Okay. Let's see if we can first just find a list of IP addresses, and then we'll try to find a list of domain names. So these are all just processes running. So modified events, modification events, these are the things that the process tried to modify. These are some dropped files that was trying to be, look at all this stuff. So 1632 dropped files, network activity. Okay, 1632. First domain would probably be, what is it? craftingalegacy.com. So let's see if that's right. craftingalegacy.com. That is right. Okay, so what is the first IP address that it tried to mess with? These are DNS requests, general info, indicators, behavior, activities, malware configuration, static. Oh, I can't believe I missed this, but this is it. So this should be the same thing. So that's the domain name, and this should be the IP address. So 5087.136.52. 5087.136.52. There you go. That was simple enough. Domain names, simple. So let's step up the pyramid of pain and move to domain names. You can see the transition of colors from green to teal. Domain names can be thought as simply mapping an IP address to a string of text. So it can contain a domain and a top-level domain. So this will be the domain, and that's the top-level domain. A subdomain followed by a top-level domain. So TryHackMe.evilcorp. So TryHackMe would be the subdomain, evilcorp would be the domain, and that's the top-level domain, which is .com. But we will not go into the details of this. You can learn more about it in the DNS detail. Domain names can be a little more of a pain for the attacker to change, as they would most likely need to purchase the domain, register it, and modify DNS records, So for defenders, unfortunately, many DNS providers have loose standards and provide APIs to make it even easier for the attacker to change the domain, probably through some kind of a script. So malicious Sodinokibi, CDO, which is the command and control infrastructure domains, are all of these things right here. Adidas.de. Can you spot anything malicious in the above screenshot? Now compared to the legitimate website below. So Adidas.de, Adidas.de. So what it looks like is that the I right here, so there's an actual I between the two D's, and this doesn't have an I. It has some kind of a character, and it is in here at all. Is it in here? It's not in here. Is it here? It's not in this list, but we can definitely see the difference between these two, right? This is one of the examples of a puny code attack using the attackers to redirect to a malicious domain that seems legitimate at first glance. Puny code, as per Wander, puny code is a way of converting words that cannot be written in ASSI to Unicode ASSI encoding. When you saw in the URL above this, it actually has the number 1, it seems, which has the puny code of this. Internet Explorer, Chrome, Microsoft Edge, Safari are now pretty good at translating to the obfuscated characters into the full Punycode domain name. To detect the malicious domains, proxy logs or web server logs can be used. So attackers usually hide malicious domains under URL shorteners, which is, I've seen a lot. I've seen this happen a lot. I get a lot of spam emails that get past my spam filter that actually have bit.ly or these types of shorteners in there, and it kind of looks legit because it kind of looks like some of them actually even look like, so Amazon.com may be turned into ama.z something like this, and you're like, oh, it's probably an Amazon link or something. So a shortener is a tool that creates a short and unique URL that will redirect to the specific website. You probably have seen a lot of this stuff. These are the most common ones, but there's a lot more. And you can see the actual website shortened link is redirecting to by appending plus to it. So at the end of the URL, you put a plus. At the end of the URL, type a plus, type a plus. Um, type the shortened URL in the address bar of the web browser and add the above characters to see the redirect URL. No example is this. These are non-existent. Viewing connections in any.run. Any.run is a sandboxing service that executes the sample. We can review any connections such as HTTP requests, DNS requests, that's communicating with the IP. To do so, we can look at the networking tab located just below the snapshot of the machine. And I think this is one of the screenshots from here. So HTTP request, this shows all of our HTTP requests that have been done with websites. Connections, this shows any communication made since the detonation of the sample. This can be useful to see if a process communicates with another host. For example, this could be C2 traffic uploading, downloading files over FTP. So these are different connections apart from web connections that have just been using file transfer protocol, which is on port 21 of most domains, right, or networks. And then DNS requests made since the detonation of the sample. Malware often makes DNS requests to check for internet connectivity. If it can't reach the internet call home, then it's probably being sandboxed or is useless. So let's go to this report and provide the first suspicious URL. Provide the first suspicious URL request you're seeing. You will be using this report to answer the remaining questions of this task. Okay. This is not the report, that's the other report. Okay, so we're here, network, all of your files are encrypted. Find this and follow the instructions. Move your mouse to view screenshots. Okay, so it's asking for what? It's asking for the first suspicious URL you are seeing. So network, connections, craftingalegacy.com seems to be it. So let's try that again. Okay. What term refers to an address used to access websites? It's a domain name. What type of attacks use Unicode characters in the domain name to imitate a known domain? And it was called puny something. What is it called? Puny code attack. That's what it is. Puny code, not Coke. Puny code attack. Provide the redirected website for the shortened URL using a preview of this. So provide the redirected website using this. So I'm gonna just do a new tab and open that up. Oh, it's TryHackMe. TryHackMe.com dashboard. Is that it, really? Tiny URL. Okay, TryHackMe.com/dashboard. HTTP TryHackMe.com. What? Oh, HTTPS. There you go. Okay, easy enough. Moving on. So host artifacts, which are annoying. So this is funny. Hash values are trivial, IP addresses are easy, domain names are simple. Host artifacts are annoying. So let's take another step up the yellow zone. On this level, the attacker will feel a little more annoyed and frustrated if you can detect the attack. The attacker would need to circle back at this detection level and change his tools and methodologies. This is very time consuming for them, and probably he will need to spend more resources on this on his adversary tools. Host artifacts are the traces or observables that the attackers leave the system, such as registry values, suspicious process execution, attack patterns, IOCs, files dropped by malicious applications, or anything exclusive to the current threat. So this is a report of suspicious process execution from Microsoft Word, it seems. So process has been, it's PowerShell exe. The operation is write file, TCP receive, write file, basically the same thing. These are the paths that have been used, and the results have all been successful. Suspicious events followed by open, oh, I'm sorry, this, my bad. So this is the one with Word. So Word processor, Microsoft Word, okay? And then these were suspicious events followed by opening a malicious application. So this is the application that was opened, which is gjugkexe, and then something happened here, right? So this IP address on that port sent a request to this IP address on port 80, and so on and so forth. So pretty much the same exact thing has happened multiple times, and yeah. The files modified dropped by the malicious actor. So this was the PowerShell file that we saw in the previous one, and they've been modified using PowerShell exe. And this is kind of a funky spelling of PowerShell, so this might be P0 or shell or something, so that it's kind of you don't notice it and you miss it. But it's an executable that happened, and that's the actual executable. That seems to be an issue. Alright, so a security vendor has analyzed the malicious sample for us. Review the report here to answer the following questions. Okay, so let's go and see. Is this the one? Yeah, that's the one. We already looked at this. We already looked at this. Alright, so here we go. This is the malicious report. Process named rigidle.exe makes a post request to an IP address based in the United States on port 8080. What is the IP address? So rigidle.exe. Oh, there's also hints here. So this can be found at the bottom of the page 50 of the report. Okay, so instead of me having to scroll, I can just go to page 50 right here, and the bottom of page 50 is right here. So this is network activity. Process called rigidle.exe makes a post request to this IP address on port 8080. Yep. So let's see if we could copy this real quick and just paste it so I don't have to memorize. Look at that. That worked. And it's not right. What the hell? A process makes a post request to an IP address based in the United States. So maybe I took the wrong IP address, and I should have taken the IP that I think that's supposed to be it, honestly. Maybe, let's see. Oh, you know what? I haven't even been looking at the countries, so we need to look at the countries. So this is the one that's in the US, port 8080, and it's a post request. So this is the one, port 8080, post request. That should be the answer. That is the answer. Okay. The actor drops a malicious executable. What is the name of this executable? This can be found midway through page 39 of the report. So it drops a malicious executable. Let's go to page 39. And midway. So malicious executable that is dropped. Let's see. This is not an executable. This is not an executable. Temp dot. This is a temp. This seems like an executable. And so midway on page 39. This could be it. rigidle.exe. That could actually be it. Nope. Oh, my bad. This is also a executable. There you go. So now look at this report by VirusTotal. How many vendors determined this host to be malicious? 9. We don't even have to zoom in on it, but we can zoom in if we wanted to, right here. So 9 vendors flagged this as a malicious IP. So we're just gonna drop that number in there, and that is correct. Okay, network artifacts, annoying artifacts. Network artifact also belongs to the yellow zone in the pyramid of pain. This means that if you can detect and respond to the threat, the attacker would need more time to go back and change his tactics or modify the tools, which gives you more time to respond and detect the upcoming threats or remediate the existing ones. A network artifact can be user agent string, it could be C2 information, URI patterns. By the HTTP post request, an attacker might use a user agent that hasn't been observed in your environment before or seems out of the ordinary. It's defined by RFC 2616 as the request header field that contains the information about the user agent. So a user agent could be Mozilla Firefox, it could be Google Chrome, right? So these are user agents. Network artifacts can be detected in Wireshark PCAP files, files that contain the packet data of a network by using a network protocol analyzer like TShark or exploring IDS intrusion detection system logging from something like Snort. So HTTP post requests containing suspicious strings, and this is what they look like, and these are very suspicious looking strings. And it's like, what is all this? It's probably some malicious stuff. So let's use Tshark to filter out the user agent strings by following the command. So Tshark, HTTP request, fields, host, user agent, and analysis file is what it's going to be reading, and this is the response. So it does that for us, and these are all the different responses that come in. As you can see, they're all Mozilla compatible. This is all the same, right? Everything is the same, and then that's pretty much it. I mean, it's all the same. So Mozilla seems to be the thing. These are the most common user agent string found for the Emotet downloader Trojan. If you can detect the custom agent strings that the attacker is using, you might be able to block them, creating more obstacles and making their attempt to compromise the network more annoying. So what browser uses the user agent string shown in the screenshot above? Mozilla Firefox. What? No way. Really? So what is it if it's not Mozilla? Let's see what the hint says. Try to search for the user agent string Mozilla 4.0 compatible Windows yada 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 net yada 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 on Google. So let's see if we can actually search Google for this. Okay, it could be Windows desktop. So the website that we got to is useragents.net, and the browser is Internet Explorer. Oh, maybe that's it. So what's the question asking? It says what browser. So it is probably Internet Explorer. Let me close these files real quick. So the browser is Internet Explorer. Let's try it. Okay, that's right. How many post requests are there in the screenshot from the PCAP file? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 post requests. Okay. So challenging tools. Here we go. Congratulations, we have made it to the challenging part for the adversaries. At this stage, we have leveled up our detection capabilities against the artifacts. The attacker would most likely give up trying to break into our network or go back and try a new tool that serves the same purpose. It will be game over for the attackers, as they would need to invest some money into building a new tool if they're even capable of doing it. Find a tool that has the same potential, or even get some training to learn how to be proficient in a certain tool. So They would use the utilities to create malicious macro documents, maldocs, for spear phishing attempts, which is attacking one specific person that's very influential instead of just trying to get everybody, or getting a backdoor that can be used to establish C2 command and control infrastructure, any custom exe or DLL files, payloads, or even password crackers. A Trojan dropped the suspicious stealer.exe in the temp folder, which is our screenshot right here, as you can see. And the execution of the suspicious binary right here shows up in the PCAP file, it looks like. Antivirus signatures, detection rules, and Yara rules can be great weapons for you to use against attackers at this stage. Malware, Bazaar, Malshare are good resources to provide with the access samples, malicious feeds, and Yara results. This can all be helpful for threat hunting, for detection, detection rules. SOC Prime Threat Detection Marketplace is a great platform. Fuzzy hashing is also a strong weapon against the attacker's tools. Fuzzy hashing helps you perform similarity analysis, match two files with minor differences based on fuzzy hash values. One of the examples of hashing is the usage of SSDeep on the SSDeep official website. You can also find the complete explanation for fuzzy hashing. So this is the SSDeep value that was used, right? So yeah, fuzzy hashing. So this is the hash value of SSDeep from their website right here. So provide the method used to determine similarity between files. I believe it is called fuzzy hashing. Let's try that. That is correct. Provide the alternative name for fuzzy hashes without the abbreviation. Okay, so if we look at the actual SSDeep website, let's see if we can find the technical name for fuzzy hashes. I'm going to say it's this right here. Context triggered piecewise hashes. I'm going to try that. That is correct. So there you go. So fuzzy hashing is technically context triggered piecewise hashes. That's what that is. All right. So now we're making it tough. So it's not over yet, but good news, we made it to the final stage, or the apex of the pyramid of pain. TTPs stands for Tactics, Techniques, and Procedures. This includes the whole MITRE attack matrix, which means that all the steps taken by an adversary to achieve his goal, starting from phishing attempts to persistence and data exfiltration. If you can detect and respond to the TTPs quickly, you can leave the adversaries almost no chance to fight back. For example, if you could detect a pass-the-hash attack using Windows Event Log Monitoring and remediate it, you would be able to find the compromised host very quickly and stop the lateral movement inside your network. At this point, the attacker would have two options: go back, do more research and training, reconfigure their tools, or give up and find somebody else to attack. Option 2 definitely takes less time and resource consuming, or sounds less time and resource consuming. So navigate to Attack Matrix webpage. How many techniques fall under the exfiltration category? So MITRE Attack Matrix. Let's go to the attack matrix. And how many fall under exfiltration? It says 9 techniques. We can close this, we can close this. So 9 techniques under the exfiltration category. Chimera is a China-based hacking tool that has been active since 2018. What is the name of the commercial remote access tool they use for C2 beacons and exfiltration? We can probably Google this. Let me see what the hint gives us. Check. Oh, okay, I see. So Chimera is a China-based since 2018. What is a commercial remote access tool they use for C2 beacons? So remote access and C2 beacons is probably what we're looking for. Okay, so I think I was actually looking at the wrong thing, because I was looking at command and control, but I mean, they already asked us what's the exfiltration category, so we should probably even be looking under here. And so exfiltration over C2, which is command and control, is what we're looking for. And so these are the names. So if we try to see if we can find Chimera has used Cobalt Strike C2 beacons for data exfiltration. So let's do that. Cobalt Strike. And there is the answer. All right, so now we have a practical exercise. So deploy the static site attached to this task and place the prompts into the correct tiers of the pyramid of pain. Once you are sure, submit your answer to retrieve a flag. So here is the website. Okay, so the attacker would get a little annoyed at this stage as he would need to go back and reconfigure. At this stage, it is a bit trickier. I see. Okay, so there we go, full answer. So the attacker would get a little annoyed at this stage and he would need to go back and reconfigure his tools. The attacker tends to leave the common patterns like registry key changes, dropped files, and suspicious process execution. You would leave the adversary no chance to succeed in his attack if you can detect and respond to threats quickly. And so TTP, right? And I guess we could just do this, right? So uh, if you can detect too quickly, you leave the adversary almost no chance to fight back. So I kind of am cheating, but I'm just going to put that right there. At this stage, you leave them no room. So at this stage, the attacker would most likely give up trying to break into your network and go back to try to create a new tool that serves the capabilities. They would use either a backdoor, custom payload, or malicious document. So most likely give up, go back, create a new tool that serves its payment purpose. It would probably be invest some money to and it could be, maybe it's probably this one because they mentioned something about a backdoor. Okay, so after a lot of different variations, because there's multiple of these answers that can fit other ones, and I think what they were trying to do is just get you to keep reading and rereading and trying to match these things because there is no flag requirement here. It's literally just a button that you press to get complete on the status site. So I tried a bunch of different variations of this. I even Googled other people that have taken this and nobody was able to pass it. And somebody in the comments in Reddit finally said, yeah, it's probably something that they just want you to they wanted to kind of mess with you, which is really annoying that they that they did that. But I can understand why they would do that. So alright, so now that you've understood the concept of the primitive pay, maybe it's time to apply this in practice. Please navigate to the static site to perform the exercise. You can pick any advanced persistent threat groups. As another exercise, a good place to look at would be FireEye Advanced Persistent Groups. When you have determined the APT group you want to research, find their indicators and ask yourself, what can I do, or what detection rules and approaches can I create to detect the adversary's activity? And where does this activity or detection fall on the pyramid of pain? As David Blanco states, the amount of pain you cause an adversary depends on the types of indicators you're able to make use of. So that's basically it. We're going to click complete here. And we'll just open up a new link to LinkedIn so that we can post this thing. But that was, I mean, it was cool. It was mostly read only stuff. And I think this took a while to actually read through. And I was trying to enunciate as best as I could instead of just blah 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 blah. So hopefully you actually got some good information out of here. And if you do go through this exercise at the very end, or if you're trying to figure out why the practical on your end didn't work, now you know why it didn't work, because they were just trying to mess with us, man. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the Pyramid of Pain at TryHackMe. It's your boy Hank Hackerson. Hank Hacks Hackers. And make sure you like, subscribe, share, comment, turn on the notification bell, all that good stuff, because that's how we would get support on this channel. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I will see you in the next video.